So I've been asked to summarise what epistemic insight is, and I can do it in 3 images. We've got this one, and this one. It's the wow, the how, and the now. Wow, that's amazing. How does it work? And then the important, now I wonder what would happen. But I think we need more than that. So have a look at this. We've got some lines going behind the hand. And the question is, does it go to A, B, C, or D? Well, the obvious answer is D. However, that's not the right answer. And you might be thinking, Matt, that's unfair. You used wiggly, squiggly lines. But here's the thing. Most of us look at something like this and we make that quick assumption. We fill in the gaps. And that's one of the first things about epistemic insight. Sometimes we're too quick to make assumptions. And I think there's something more important to find out on the other side of the obvious. So as a magician, I like to do some mind reading. So I'd like to do some mind reading with you. All you have to do is really simple. I'm going to ask you a question. As soon as you know the answer, just think it in your head. So the question is, name for me, as fast as you can, a vegetable. Go. Who was thinking of a carrot then? I find that about 3/4 of people go for carrot. It becomes the obvious answer. What colour's the fridge behind me? It's white. And what do cows drink? Milk. Well, maybe not. This is me being a little bit misleading. I got you thinking about a white object. And milk's white. And milk stored in fridges. There's a very obvious red arrow pointing at the milk. And cows make milk. So your brain is thinking milky, milky, milky. And of course, that's the obvious answer, but it's the incorrect answer. I said we're too quick to go for the obvious answer. Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer, but quite often it's too easy or it's the wrong answer. So we've got a grid here. This is a test of memory. So I'm going to split the room in half. And what I want you to do is half the room is going to look at the first image and half the room is going to look at the second image. And if you're watching at home, you can decide whether you're in the first group or the second group. So first group, if you could all close your eyes so you can't see what's on the screen. Okay, and look up. And then second group, you need to close your eyes right now and have a look. Okay, everyone can look up. And the question now is, what shape was in the middle box? And if we ask around, some people will say there's B, and some people will say it's 13. And the answer is yes. It's both B and 13. You see, the way we interpret that central shape depends on the patterns around it. We can view it in terms of letters, or we can view it in terms of numbers, and both answers are right. You see, it's a different perspective. And when we look at objects, we can view it from a different perspective. We can have a different interpretation, and it can both be right. There doesn't need to be conflict, even though on the surface there could be a conflict in the perspective. Now, I'm really thrilled because I've just received an invite from the Queen to go for cream tea with her. And she's rather helpfully, in her email, sent me an attachment, a photo of what central London looks like. And I just need to get to Buckingham Palace. But the problem is that picture of London is useless. What I need is a map. And I need to know for a start that Buckingham Palace is near Green Park, and I need to work out my route across London. But most of that map, the information's redundant, so we can strip it away. We can tidy it up. In a more conventional map of the Underground, it's a lot easier to navigate. That's all I need to know to get to Buckingham Palace. And do you know what? For me, this is how subjects work. Subjects take a snapshot of reality and they organise it in a nice, easy to understand way. Cause and effect. If we do this, then this will happen. But this isn't reality. This is just a snapshot. It's a map of reality. To get the full picture, we need a lot more detail. In fact, we need the full picture going on. That's where we need all the subjects coming together, all giving their insight into what's going on. But there's a problem. In our schooling, quite often, we find, especially in secondary schools, subjects are blocked together. We have an hour of maths, an hour of religious education, an hour of sport. And the problem is this creates barriers. We don't see the links, the connections between subjects. Or sometimes we miss out, there's a whole gap between subjects. I think, and this is one of the things about epistemic insight, is Wouldn't it be great to get subjects coming together and dialoguing, having subject mashup? Because sometimes the really interesting things happen when subjects work together. Think of things like biophysics, or think of things like behavioural economics. Working together, filling in those gaps, sort of finding those common links, new perspectives on things, you can get some really interesting discoveries. So for me, education isn't about finding the answer, nor is it about finding the answers. It's about the connections between different things, seeing how things link. And for me, a good education is about providing the learner with both the skills and the confidence to go and explore further, to forge new connections. Now, I love mysteries, and some people hate mysteries. And you could decide on a sort of spectrum whether you hate mysteries or whether you love mysteries, but I think there's another line, and that's whether you like open solutions or whether you like nice, neat, closed solutions. And depending on where you find yourself on this plot, you fit into different categories. We've got the people who are curious, they're the people who love mysteries, and they don't particularly care about finding the exact answer, they just love finding solutions, exploring further. And you get the people who love a mystery, but they have to know the answer. And if you've seen the film Inception, you'll know the end bit with the spinning top really divides a cinema-going audience between whether they love open solutions or whether they love closed solutions. And then you get other categories. You've got the people who get infuriated. As a magician, I know certain people don't like mysteries, and if they face a mystery, they want to know the answer. And then the sad group for me is the indifferent. They don't really care about questions, they don't care about answers, they just go along with life, not really exploring much. And I think naturally we start off being curious as a child, but then circumstances and environment drive us into some of the other categories. And what I'd love to do with my work is to reverse that, to make people more curious, to have more sort of wonder in their lives, to question more, to explore more. There's a lovely quote from Dennis Covington. He says, "Mystery is not the absence of meaning, but it's the presence of more meaning than we can comprehend." Mysteries are great because mysteries basically say there's more here than you think. So I thought what I'd do is I'd finish on a mystery. A mystery involving a piece of cutlery. A spoon. So, for those a bit further back, let's add a card. So when the spoon moves, the card will move. And I'm going to hide the spoon. The challenge is what I need to do is I need to twist it so the spoon's upside down. But I'm not allowed to use my hands. So I'm just going to use tongue of my teeth. Ta-da! Of course, if you find it really hard to get a big spoon, go at something smaller, like a fork.